All right, because of a bunch of questions, talking to people in town about exactly what's going on with the water situation, I told Paula the easiest thing to do is do a PowerPoint, explain where we're at. This is not part of the council meeting. You guys got questions, don't be afraid to ask. So, the first thing, and I just want to make sure it's clear, when we had the public meeting about the rate increase, it has nothing to do with water supply. Whether we get it from Westernport, whether we get it from Savage, whether we carry it in buckets up to the reservoir, the rates are going to be what the rates are. The first slide I have up here is with the interim rate of what they've already implemented. And I know they talk about a 56% increase. I don't think it calculates out to that, but with the interim, this is what we went to that. This is on a minimum usage. That's the only calculations I can do, because everyone uses, I've heard people using 8,000 gallons in the residence, which is a massive amount. But these are all based on the minimum. So it went up $7.92 over the cost over 2,000, went up $1.68 to $7.55. Now we've already got the notice that August or September we'll have a ruling on the other half of that increase. So this is what your bill ended up going up for the minimum usage. Now I've said all along, the biggest issue we have in Piedmont right now financially is 40% of people pay their bills late. That makes it a little tough. Well, if you got an $8 increase and your late fee's 10, 40% of people can save $2 by paying their bill on time. So that's going to be a benefit to us, getting them paid. Go ahead and go to the next one. Okay. What I based this on is what they said the rate was going to be. They've already let us know it could be a little less after the audit, could be a little more. We're not sure. But it's supposed to go to $41 for the first 2,000 gallons. Go to $10 for every 1,000 gallons over 2. Once that, if the $41 is implemented, the minimum bill is going to be, for minimum usage, $72.15. So that's what we're going to be looking at moving forward. If it comes in under 41, will be a little less. Over 41 will be a little more. But the reason I put that up there on in the slide, we did a budget based on minimum usage to show that the town of Piedmont what they can afford and what they can't afford. Now, when this started months ago, in the last 4 months, I've got a preliminary report off Dunn Engineering. They had 5 different options to get water, okay? First was not change anything, get it off paper mill. Paper mill was already sent the town of Piedmont a letter, said July 18th they're shutting water off. They want that mill completely black by the end of July. They're putting poles up just so they can run the minimum for the sewer grinders for the town of Luke, and they want it black. So that option's out. The other was replace the existing water line down from Savage. Now the quote they did was $3.2 million. That was just the repair of the water line, redoing the water line. Go ahead. So what we did, we went up to see what's feasible and what isn't feasible. This is your Piedmont Dam right in front of your intake. Okay? Our intake sits right over here. As long as that dam's breached, and as long as it's been breached, water does not back up in front of our intake. I didn't realize it had been this long. It's been over 25 years since water came down from Savage to Piedmont. There has not been water in that, running through that line to supply Piedmont 25 years. This is a problem from getting it up Savage. Go ahead and go to the next one. This is your intake right here. You can see the bottom of the river river's only about 8 inches deep in front of the intake. And this is because that dam's breached. Go ahead. This is another one of the intake. All the grates on the front of the intake are busted. That's to keep all the debris out of it. They would all have to be replaced. The last time they let water out of the dam, it filled the intake up with silt and dirt. Got to get in there and clean that out. That in itself, you got to put a crane in the river to do that. You got to get permits. I don't know what it costs up Savage. I'm not going to say I know the cost. I know the cost to get in the river behind the paper mill is $28,000 just to put your crane in the river, not to do the work. Go ahead and go to the next one. That's the housing that they built over the intake. The back steps are completely gone. Really has nothing to do with the water in it, but it would have had to be cleaned up. Go ahead. For those of you who know where Frog Hollow is, if you go up towards Bloomington on the Loop Road and do not turn towards Bloomington, stay along the mountain at the Savage Wood Yard, that's where our water line comes down. This valve right here was left open for the purpose of knowing how much water was running down. 3 months ago, me and one of the supervisors from the mill rode up, and you had about 10 to 12 gallons a minute coming out of there, which ain't gonna supply us. This picture was from 3 days ago. There's nothing coming down that pipe right now, at all. Go ahead. If we was to go back on the raw water line from Savage, we would have to set the pump system back up. The mill has been feeding Piedmont water for 20 years, but it came from their fire water tank. It gravity fed to Piedmont. No pumping, no cost whatsoever. When it comes down from Savage, it has to be pumped on the Piedmont line. There's not enough head pressure from the Piedmont dam. So this is the pump station that was there. This was taken 3 days ago. You can see the condition of the pump and the cost to run it. When it did run, Westvaco fit the bill. So we have no idea what it would have cost to run that around the clock to pump water to Piedmont. Plus, you'll also find out these things were put together with antiquated equipment at the mill because nobody ever updated anything. So this would all have had to be replaced. Go ahead. Now, the raw water from Piedmont, the other option was we talked to the mill about putting an intake in right behind the mill where they take it out of the river, run 300-foot line to Piedmont's line there. The mill said they would do that on 2 stipulations. One was we had to secure the permits. 2 was we had to take ownership of that. That's the low water dam behind the mill. If it plugs up, if debris gets on it, if something happens on that river, it's the city of Piedmont. The state don't want no parts of it, I don't want no parts of it. Because again, if something would happen here, we're bankrupt. You can't, it's gonna cost you $28,000 just to put a crane in and clean that off. The other problem is, go ahead, Frank.
Who does it now?
Right now, because the filter plant is still in operation, okay, Verso owns a low water bridge. The reason that, or low water dam, the reason that dam is there to back the water up for their intake. So there's always water going into the mill. So Verso owns it. Right now, their grading system, they got called a water cannon. It's a giant fire hose that keeps the debris off of the grates. All that's going to be shut down. Some of the outfits, such as the Sierra Club, Trout Unlimited, they want this gone. They want a free-flowing river all the way down. If they would come in and purchase it and take it out, you wouldn't get any water in that intake anyway. So that is something that I do not believe, and I recommend that Piedmont don't want any parts of this. This is a disaster waiting to happen. okay? And the last plan was to get potable water off Piedmont. Now we got two problems. One is potable water. Two is come July 18th, we have to get raw water off Piedmont, or off somewhere. Westernport was adamant they did not want to sell us raw water. In the end, at the 11th hour, they told us if we could come up with agreement, we get raw water. So right now, our funding that we received and Verso will split on the cost of tying into Westernport's raw water line. So we will not have an interruption in service in raw water. Now for a year, we're going to have to treat that. And that's fine. We got a licensed water plant operator. We'll treat that. But because it's coming from the Savage River Dam, we won't have to pump it up there. Head pressure will take it up to our reservoir. So, the cost of the Westernport system is $1.9 million total, engineering and everything, which is fully funded with a grant. And when I get to the other numbers, I'll show you why I believe it's important that that's fully funded. Okay? Right now, this is just a map of where it is, where it's taking place. Go ahead, go to the next one. This is where the water line will run. It will come off Maryland Avenue, underneath the river, up Ashfield Street, Childs Avenue, up to Hampshire Street, up to the reservoir. 6-inch line, no pumps. The head pressure from the tanks in Westernport will keep that full. That means they got all the liability on the drinking water. We would be able to shut down our system, take out our chemical cost, our licensed operator cost, the electric cost, everything that goes with that. Okay, good. That might be it for, yeah. What we did, and I talked to Mike Griffin, we come up with, okay, what's it going to cost and can the city of Piedmont afford this? We went on 25 million gallons of water, which is about average of what we've used for each year for the last 10 years. That comes out to the per month usage. This is a minimum, 271 customers. And that's where the question comes in. Can we afford to run a water treatment plant on 271 customers? Population of Piedmont's gone down 15% since 2010. That's what's making it tough. So those 271 customers, their minimum bill is going to be here. That means the excess is going to be here. So the raw water tap for Westernport is $25 per tap. This is what we pay them. Plus 20 cents per 1,000 gallons. Okay? That's what we'd send them. Anything over, and that's based on this number going over, we'd send them $7,000 a month for raw water. Potable water cost, it's going to be $20 a tap. It goes down. The reason it's 25 is people familiar with Westernport, they pay $25 a month on top of their water bill to take care of that raw water line. Because we're pulling out of it, they have to charge us at 25. But once we go to potable, we're not paying that. We're being charged $20 for the first 2,000 gallons. If they were to try to charge us each individual that extra 25, they would have to take over Piedmont's water lines and do all the repairs. They have no interest in that, I don't blame them. So there's the $20 per tap based on this many, and over 2,000 gallons, once it's potable, it's going to be $85.03. Now, like I said, I did the calculations on the new rate, what we believe is coming. 271 customers paying $41 minimum. This is monthly. Amount paid over is going to go to $10 for every 1,000 gallons over. Based on these numbers, that's going to be an additional $15,000. That's Piedmont's total monthly income for water that we should get. Now this is in the perfect world, everyone pays their bills. That's the only way we can do the calculations. So all we did is turn that into annual. This was on, okay, on raw water, okay, same thing here, that's your income. Now that's only going to last that year, because once the potable water line is done, it's supposed to be done next August, then you're going to revert back to this income. Go ahead. This is the sewer. These increases have nothing to do with the sewer. Your sewer is based on how many gallons you use. So if you use a minimum, you're billed a minimum 2,000, here's your minimum rate of 2,000 for those 271 people. All that is a short note of exactly what kind of income, annual income, we get off the sewer. Go ahead. To me, here's the killer. And I'm not here to judge anything that happened in the past. It's a hand we're dealt. Right here is bonds we pay every month for previous improvements. And I know the one's not due to 2041. I'm not sure the other one, Gary. Right around there. Yeah. So we're making these bond payments. So what I did, added up all the expenses for bonds and what we're paying Westernport, and that's $14,000 a month. You take that off the income we should be generating an additional $12,458 a month. That's annual. That's water, this is sewer. We got 2 bonds on the sewer, plus we pay $3,300 a month to UPRC. Just on a side note, that's going to be our next battle. Is UPRC going to be in existence? And if it is, can we afford it? We're already doing some investigating into other options if they're not running. Again, there's your income. So your total monthly income for water and sewer after the bonds payments should come out here once these new rates are in and everyone's paying their bill. Okay. Outside of bonds, this is our expenses on the last full year in our sewer department. This was our water expenses. So our total expenses were $170,000. Our water and sewer income from the previous slide is $287. So we should still be able to net $117,000. Okay? So that is something we have to, I believe, we can afford to do. Now here's the thing. You will pay no more for Westernport water than Westernport pays for Westernport water. You'll pay no more than Luke pays. Now Westernport, they could come out and say, okay, because of increases in it, increases are going to come no matter where you're at. Say they would come out and say, we're going to charge $21. That means the town of Piedmont's paying them another $1. That doesn't mean we necessarily have to raise our rates another $1. Because we got a little bit of cushion of what we can do. Now again, the important part is, you got to remember, we're paying Westernport $20 for the first 2,000 gallons. Each customer in Piedmont is paying $41. So you're making $21 per customer to pay your expenses. The over 2,000 gallons, where you're paying $2 for every 1,000 gallons over, or no, on the new rates you'll be paying 10 for every 1,000 gallons over. We're only giving 2 of that to Westernport. So these numbers can only go up, because I got one individual told me maybe it's normal that they use 8,000 gallons a month as a resident. That's a lot of water. But I don't know what they do with it, I don't care. But that's only gonna make these bigger, because once you go over that 2,000 gallons, we're making more money than what we're paying Westernport. Yes?
I have one question. Are we going to consider a commercial account with one commercial account, like Piedmont's commercial account, to Westernport, or is it just going to be residential? Because they can have two different rates for commercial versus residential. You know what I mean? We're not, depending on what it's called.
Yeah, we are going to be considered one of their residential customers. That's how we're getting away with not paying that $25. Luke's doing the same thing, and Luke is the same thing. They're paying $20 per tap. We're paying $20 per tap. Westernport's going to be paying $20 per tap. They're paying $2 for every 1,000, every 1,000. So will we, so will Piedmont. Again, but even if they raise their rates to us, the city, that doesn't necessarily mean we got to jump on and say, okay, you're charging us $1, we're going to charge our customers $1. If you have to, you have to. You got to keep your town afloat. But that doesn't mean we have to. We will assess the situation as it comes up. So hopefully that's a protection we need. And right now, they can't raise our rates unless they raise their own rates. That's in the contract. I don't think I can ask for any more than that. They're not going to sell water to us cheaper than they sell it to their own townspeople. Because if it was we was in the opposite way, we surely wouldn't be charging our Piedmont customers more than we'd be charging Westernport's customers. Is it the ideal situation? No. Is it a new idea? Absolutely not. Happens all the time across state lines. Originally gets their water from Cumberland. There's towns all over the borders in Kentucky and Ohio that buy water off of the other state because they can't sustain their filter plant, their water plant, without raising rates so astronomically with 271 people. It's not going to go up. We all know that. There's not going to be a rash of residents come flooding to Piedmont to move into town. So we got to do, I think we're doing what is best for you guys, to guarantee we got drinking water, to guarantee the price we got drinking water. I think that's all we can ask for. Now, I can't control the PSC if they come out with something different.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, you based it on 271, right?
Yes.
And we know different, we're getting different numbers all the time.
Yeah, but what we're going to do, originally, their proposal was 271 forever. We said absolutely not. Every year, I think it's annual, we will look at the average and do that. Because if we go down 250 people, you don't want to be paying for 271 taps that ain't there. Now I'll tell you from my standpoint, we haven't discussed it yet, because of all the people that pay late, we'll have to talk about increasing the late fee to encourage them to pay it on time. We're not asking for any more money, we just need to have it. It's week to week. I talked to Carrie, we got enough money in the account. Yeah, we're right there. But we also got 40% of people who ain't paid their bills yet. That's what's hurt us. So,
Great.
yes.
One thing, looking at the Public Service Commission water audit that was done for 18-19, and the average was 277. Where did this 271 come in?
271 is where they, at the timing, that on one of the reports, which I'm fine, lower is better. That's, no matter how, if we got 277 customers paying it, okay, that's fine. I'm only sending Westernport 271.
Yeah.
Because at some point, it might be 269 and I'm paying 271. So that's why it's there. Now I talked to Jonathan Fowler, I talked to Terry Lively, I've talked to Todd Swanson. The three groups, the IJDC, Region 8 Council, and the West Virginia Health and Human Resources, all said that they believe long-term Westernport is the best option, and the West Virginia Health and Human Resources will not move forward on any other plan but that. Yes, sir.
One question, you mentioned about contract. How long is that contract?
40 years,
40 years.
which is standard.
Okay.
They had talked about doing it for the term of the people in office. Dear Lord, we can't do this every 3 years. I don't want to do it every 3 years. You know, try to keep changing stuff. Yeah,
Greg, if and when we get the water from Westernport, because that sounds like the best option, and our minimum is 66, 67, what is, if you stay within that minimum, exactly how much is our bill going to go up when we connect to Westernport, individual?
well, if you can back up, your bill, can you go the up button all the way to the top? Now, this is based on $41. Like I said, it could be a little more, a little less. Yeah, go to the next one. Now, the $41, that's going to be your minimum bill. If you use 2,000 gallons for the month, your minimum bill is going to be $72.15 once PSC gets their second increase in. We don't know what that's going to be because, and I'll give Carrie kudos, she just put about 30 hours time into an audit.
But that's it with the 56 point whatever percent raise, is that what you're saying?
That's the rates they told us. This is what it should end up.
She's not done with the audit yet, though.
Yes, and we won't know what that second increase, but they said it's going to be August or September. Any other questions?
So PSC come up with a lower rate then?
They could come up with a lower rate. I'm going to guess they won't. Hopefully this cleared some of it up, and if anyone's got any questions, whether it's here or someplace else, please call me. When all this started, Westernport was not my first choice. But after trying to deal with Verso, because they said owning that low water dam was a deal breaker. Either we took it or they wasn't going to let us put an intake there, which don't surprise me. And the condition of everything else up Savage, just not a good situation. Okay? Hey, look at that, 6 o'clock on the dot. You can leave that on because of the vehicle things on there too.
Anybody else have any questions for Greg before we go into the regular meeting?
Okay, Greg?
Yeah,
They charge people, state of Maryland, the flush tax in?
what's that?
They charge the city of Piedmont the flush tax in for Maryland, does Maryland residents have to pay?
Are you talking about the bay fees or? No.
So whatever, it's not.
It will be paid a one-time, as one, Piedmont will be one customer. So we will send $25, $4 or whatever every month on top of whatever the other one we send.
All in favor of that? Got enough for more? All right, stay for short prayer. Heavenly Father, bless us and everybody in attendance here today. Please lead us in the right direction for this water project and everything we do in our life. Watch over Paul bringing his daughter home today from Morgan Town. And please let us make the right decisions in everything we do going forward. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now call the meeting to order. Any citizens' remarks? Do they sign in? No? Okay. Correspondence? I have been talking to Tom Hartman. His wife has the clinic down here. He wants to do a self-defense class for women. I made him up some flyers. I haven't heard back from him. He wants to have it on Tuesdays and Thursdays up here. I don't know all the details, but he will be getting back to me. It's for women only, over 18 age, and it's going to be Tuesday, starting Tuesday, June 23rd, 1 to 2:15, and Thursday, June 25th, 6 to 7 to 15. 2 different classes to get the 2 different time periods for workers and non-workers. Like I said, we'll put it on the webpage when we have that too. We're all going to have it, but it's just in the works. I got the papers to do the fundraiser for the Hobie sale. They don't have a delivery date yet, so we're just going to start selling some, and when I get a delivery date, we'll be able to collect the money. I want to thank everybody that helped me paint the pool. Eric is away at National Guard right now, so we got Tim Jackson helping us with the water plant. I want to thank him for helping out. Anybody else got correspondence? Did everybody read the minutes from the last meeting? Yes. I have a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Officers' reports. Wanda?
Oh, I get to go first? All right. What I'd like to do first is slip back to your, talk about Tom Hartman having a class. I don't know if any of you guys know him or not. He's my neighbor, good friend. He's a 7th degree black belt. He's got many, many years of teaching under his belt, both at his own private karate school and also at Potomac State. I think anybody that's interested in taking it, I'm sorry it's only for females, but I think that it would be well worth your time. He's already told me, don't worry if you're out of shape and all that stuff, because I know I am by this point. But he's an excellent teacher, and he knows how to start out on the level where everybody is. So if you get a chance to take it, I would recommend it. I'll be there from Tuesday until Thursday. Good. Yeah, I can't go in the evening, but I can go on Tuesday.
He's a friend of Chuck Norris.
Yeah, I was going to leave that out, but thanks for putting that in there. Yeah, he's
Yeah, what?
no, he's not.
He ain't.
No, he did.
That was one of the flaws.
So yeah, Tom's part movie star too. He was in Wonderful Walker, Texas Rangers. Pick it up. That was.
Both Tom were in. I had to go about the Tom.
What's that?
I had to go about the Tom. I said, as long as I don't bring a little can, it's all right.
Okay. As far as Parks and Rec, we did pool painting. Mayor Boggs put a lot of time in on that, as some other residents. And the pool did pass inspection. We have our water samples sent out to the Maryland Department of Health Lab. We should have results back by Friday. As long as they're positive, the pool should be able to open on Saturday. It's a nice job, Mayor Boggs.
And I think that's even more critical this year. Ours is not open in their pool at all.
Neither is Dan's Mountain.
Yeah, so we're gonna be one of the very few that's open.
And Rhonda didn't say she helped, and Greg did help paint the pool. And I had a couple of lifeguards, Sierra and Russo, and Mikey Landon helped. I'd like to thank everybody for helping.
Yep, communities can get a lot when we put together. As far as the parks, yeah, there's still some things that need done back there, and I really would like to get those tied up like ASAP.
They're supposed to be getting the mulch hopefully tomorrow. I talked to Jack today.
Okay,
They're going to take 2 trucks and get it at least 2 truckloads.
okay, that would be good. And then when Eric gets back, there are a couple things I want to go back with him. I want to fix date on him so that I can respond to the health department, and so that they know that we have come into compliance on the park as well as. So that I know from the last minutes, you know, A lot of people put a lot of work into these flower pots. They look gorgeous, and we had somebody destroy one within 2 weeks of them being out. Now, thankfully, they've been replaced because some citizens were concerned not to do that, and they've also been replanted, so.
They do look nice.
They do look nice, but yeah, and I appreciate everybody that's helped. So now I drive over red light and give them a drink once in a while. But we, in the last meeting, talked about no U-turn signs being put up on Ashfield Street because that's what created this destruction to begin with. Somebody coming out with a U-turn, Ashfield Street is not big enough for that. They destroyed that, those signs aren't up yet. Talked with a couple of the residents, Ashfield Street's not the only street you can U-turns on. Had somebody's car get hit this morning on Hampshire while somebody's making a U-turn. So it's getting to be a concern.
Yeah, we'll get with guys for signs, because I also need a handicap sign up on Gordon Street.
Okay. So other than that, I mean, the guys have done a great job on the park. It still looks good. It's really hard to keep up ahead of the grass this time of year, but for what they're trying to do, it looks good. We just have a couple little things to fix.
I found that part of Kathleen from over in Walton. I have an interview with her on Friday, see what all we can do with them so we can get everything running for the ordinances.
Roy, oh wait a minute, Carrie, you want to go ahead and give Paul's report?
This is just the totals, what's in the account as of today. The sewer account has $2,631.36. The water account has $2,537.05. And the general account has $1,862.09. And then I also printed out a accounts payable summary. Right now, with all the bills, the total that's owed is $4,239.86. That does not include the IRS, which is down to $10,497.19. That's it.
Okay, Greg? You might guys for getting through.
Yeah, kind of.
Rob, got any police report for us?
Just a little bit. Did anyone ever get the video yet that I needed about the fire pop dude up here? Because I already called, I mean, I know it works and I know, but I just need a little bit of help on the video. Did Carl have it or not?
It didn't go back that far. It only went back to June the 1st, and it was a couple days before that.
Well, I'll just have a talk with the gentleman, maybe he'll be kind enough to, does anyone have any idea how much the cost was on the damages?
You would have to probably talk to the concerned citizens, the one that made those, or
Yeah, some price tag on one was
$37, and then the flowers, and the, of course, the dirt.
We do have an eyewitness too, Robbie. I can talk with you about that.
Okay, and then on the, cost of, was it totally destroyed? I saw it the next day, I guess it was, about 6 in the morning, when I went through, it was still dark.
Yeah, it was in pieces.
So, maybe he would,
Rhonda did salvage the flowers, and they're planted in the little triangle in front of the building. They're doing good.
All right, for that, and then, I see we just got me and Eric, and, Cody hasn't been up for a while, but, I'm finding some things, and I'm finding other things that are not here, so I'm making a list of what's left. I'll try to keep that, and also the computer that's on the desk that was purchased after I left last time, it's going to be sent to the West Virginia State Police. So they'll be checking it out to see why it's put it out or whatever, see if, there's something that we need to get out of, it's not there,
They should be coming out with the Reeves grant applications pretty soon, so when they come to the right
So
this
we
year.
check, try those. Other than that, I can't think of anything else. Anybody has any questions? Like I said, I check the answer machine just about every day, and contact me when I have people that are actually contacting me, and I'm taking care of what I can in the evenings after I get off other jobs. So, we're staying ahead of things, and there's really hasn't been too many calls to the sheriff's department, state police have to take care of. So, and they even give us a call if they think we've dealt with things before, so that we give them a heads up on things that are in route to take care of them. So, we're working pretty good with everybody, so it's going along all right. If anybody has any problems, just get over it.
Unfinished business, do you have anything else at all, Brett? No?
Everything on the water and sewer.
Okay, don't get to the city vehicles.
Need your finger in. All right, in one of the past meetings, one of the citizens brought up concern over multiple vehicles, whether we had insurance on them. Kerry checked them out, seen what we had insurance on, what we didn't. We decided to do a vehicle audit and get rid of what we don't need. Because we just keep accumulating vehicles on top of each other, and if they're not going to run, we might as well see if we can put them up for bid. So, the pictures I took are vehicles that we are in service and will remain in service, and those out of service. The only one missing is we have a pickup truck that they blew the motor up in. We got to make a decision on dropping an engine in it, because right now we only got one truck. Okay? You don't get this one. This is 2015 Explorer. We have the police use it. They will continue to use it. There's actually a lien on this, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next one. It's got a twin with a lift gate that needs replaced. I think I found a new one for $900. We will look into getting it. The loan, if I understood Kerry correctly, covers both of those. So if we can do that, to me, maybe I'm wrong, maybe Robbie, you can tell me different. 2 vehicles are more than enough for our police department.
Yeah, we really didn't need it anyway.
Yeah.
There, so.
Good animal. This is sitting beside the fire hall. This is what we know. I think we need to take bids on it. If we're not going to put the money into it, needs a yoke. According to the guy that checked it out, said that that particular year they used 28 different yokes on these vehicles. They can't find one to match up. Some people believe it needs a transfer case for 4-wheel drive. Some people think if they get the yoke straightened out, we're going to be fine. The vacuum cylinder for the brakes. And what we'll do is we'll advertise this on our website, and if anyone wants to take a closer look, they can get a hold of me. This one sits out in public. The rest of them are inside the cage. This will be one of them, I think, with the council's approval, we take bids on. Next. This is a little bit older. Dump truck sits down there. These haven't ran in a while. The bed's in decent shape. But as you can see, it's sat for quite some time. That's another one. Go ahead. This is the one we use, you don't get it. Go ahead and go to the next one. This one has a metal frame bend on it. It's got a broken windshield. From what you're telling me, the transmission shot and it has no brakes on it. Has not been running a while. Go ahead. 2002 Cadillac, this is one of the police cars. From what I'm being told, the transmission is locked up. And there's possible damage underneath because they drug it down to the cage where it sits. So this is another one I believe it's worth our while to take bids on. 2002, body ain't in bad shape. Paint needs work, but if someone drops a transmission in it, might be a decent car. Go ahead. It's the Crown Vic, old police car, same thing, hasn't been run for quite some time. Just sitting down there, we get the other 2 on the road. I see no reason we don't try to turn this into some type of financing. Go ahead. 9920 Chevy 20.
Greg, I think, just from a little bit I've seen of, all that Crown Vic may need is the canister on the rear fuel tank.
Is that right?
It's on the bottom. Have you ever seen one in the back and you know about underneath the trunk?
Yeah.
You see the fuel tank, there's a square box with lines through out of it.
Mhm.
That was torn off of it when they bottomed it out at Harold Mountain or something. And
Okay.
That's a possibility that that may be all it needs. It's like they, you know,
Right.
what they call it, emissions, all that junk. Tied to that.
I'll tell you right now, I'm not a mechanic. So I'm not the one, someone can check that out, see whether it's worth investment. This one, got some rust on the body there. Other than that, the other side's not rusted out. Looks half decent. I think that's another one we should take bids on. Get rid of. That might be it. Yeah. That's all the vehicles sitting back there. My recommendation is go ahead.
You bid them 2 trucks without the plow apparatuses or with the plow apparatus?
I had to talk to the
They're both
council.
plow equipped, that's why I'm
You
asking.
mean that 2,500?
Yeah, that, and then that Super Duty, it had plow in front of it too. I mean, the apparatus, but you put the plows with them or not?
We will publicize that if we do. When we start taking bids.
Before you
on it.
take the bid?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We will get more details on them. I would just like to get the council's approval to look into getting bids out on these because they're just sitting there. They're not doing us any good. You might as well turn it into something that we can use. The 2 Explorers look like they're in pretty good shape other than that lift gate.
And the tires. But I got some used ones from Kaiser PD, that's what we're running now. At least they'll pass inspection.
There, there you go. So I don't know if you want that in the form of a motion that we,
I make a motion that we look into putting these vehicles up for bid.
Second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Anybody have anything else? If not, the next meeting will be July 1st at 12 o'clock here. Motion to adjourn. All in favor?
uh,